Hello. If you're wondering what you can do in the garden this season, Erica from Erica's Little Welsh Garden and I are going to tell you 10 things that you can do this autumn to get your garden off to an absolutely flying start next year. Now is the time to get autumn planted alliums in the ground, so that's garlic and onion sets. And don't forget towards the end of autumn to plant elephant garlic too. So I'm going to start by marking out the line of where I want to plant these elephant garlics, and it's not just those I'm putting in today. I'm going to put in some ordinary garlic, some onion sets and some shallots. So I'm going to try and get really organised today. It's very simple to plant. You make a hole. Now I like to plant mine 4 to 6 inches deep, so that's 4 to 6 inches of soil above the top of the clove. So I'm working on the basis of this is the depth of the hole. The clove will go here. I need to go a little bit more than that. There we go. And they need about 8 to 10 inches apart. So I'm going to go the length of my trowel, just because I do have the luxury of that much space, and it's worth spacing them out because elephant garlic really doesn't like to be cramped, doesn't like to be crowded by other plants. It likes space to expand and to flourish. So once you've made your hole for planting it, it's just as simple as popping it in the hole, covering it over. Remember to mark the row. As with all garlic and onions, it's pointy end up and the flat end at the bottom, which has got the little root base on it. Now they will produce flower stalks, which are called scapes. So a stem will come up out of the middle with a flower bud on it. Cut those off because it will divert energy away from the bulb, but don't throw them away. You can use them in the same way you would use any other garlic scape, so you can stir fry them, and they are absolutely delicious. Just make sure that the bulbs you're buying are labelled for autumn planting and not for spring planting, and they will grow away quite happily during the cold months, and then they'll romp away in the spring. Where necessary, cut back perennials and then lift and divide them. The general rule is that if something flowers before June, to divide it in autumn, and if it flowers after the end of June, well, to divide it in spring. But honestly, I don't have time in spring, so I do all my dividing in the autumn. Apart from sowing seeds, I think division is probably one of the easiest methods of propagating new plants. It would be ideal if this root ball came out in one go, but I really don't think it is. It's actually about 60 centimetres across, going further back. I don't think I have the strength to do that. So I'm going to hope that I can take it out in pieces. I'm actually going to chop through the roots with the spade in situ and then lift it out in sections. There we go. So what I've done is chopped through the roots vertically, chopping them down. So you can see here, I've just sliced through it, and that'll be fine. I'm going to put this into a bucket of water to give it a really good drink, and then this will plant up as a new clump. I could subdivide it again and make 2 smaller clumps if you're lifting a plant and the whole root ball is this size. So you can either take it apart just by prising it with your hands, or you can use 2 forks back to back, which you push in, and then as you move the forks apart, that will prise the 2 pieces apart. And if you buy them in pots, you can just about get away with doing them at the time that you buy them. So I'm going to support the plant very carefully, find a place to put my hands in to support the plant and the soil, like that. tip it up, and there we go. It's got a nice root system on it, and you can see there are very clearly separate sections to this plant, and basically I'm going to pull those apart, keeping as many roots as possible on each segment, and then pop them back up again. So here we go. I'm going to very carefully put my thumbs in and see if I can pull a segment out. So I'm just teasing it. And there we go. There is one piece. It's got some of the basal part on it, and it's got roots. So I'll reuse the pot that it arrived in. And then I'm going to repot this at the same level that it was at previously. And I'll get it a drink straight away. Continue to deadhead flowering plants like roses, unless, like me, you're going to allow them to form rose hips and then gather them as a harvest. And don't forget to continue gathering hedgerow harvests like elderberry and hazelnuts. There are still blackberries to be found. Just be wary from gathering them from the edge of very busy roads, and also don't gather very low ones in areas where people walk their dogs. As you finish using tools for the year, make sure that you clean them, service them and put them away ready for use next year. This includes hand tools, as well as all those power tools like lawn mowers and strippers. And now is an ideal time to take cuttings. In early autumn you're still going to be taking semi-ripe cuttings, and by the end of autumn there'll be hardwood cuttings. But either way, it's a very simple process, and then you just end up with more and more plants to put in your garden. So what does semi-ripe mean? Well, it means it's not the very soft new growth from this year, but it's also not brown hardwood. It's a bit of the soft green going down to where it becomes more woody. When you're choosing your cuttings, avoid anything that is diseased or damaged or has got very unusual growth, and where possible take from more horizontal growth where there are small gaps, just small spaces between the leaves. And the other thing is avoid pieces that have got flowers on them, because you want non-flowering growth if you can. A great way to make sure you've got good material for semi-ripe cuttings is to prune really hard in the spring. So this lovely fuchsia here is a hardy fuchsia, and I really like it, and as you can see it grows really big. So I've got a piece here, it's a non-flowering piece, it's quite a horizontal piece. The end is still soft growth, and then a bit further back it becomes a little bit more woody, and I'm going to cut below a leaf joint like this. So having done that, the very next thing I'm going to do is get it into the bag to try and avoid it drying out from evaporation. So I've put the soil in, I'm giving it a shake to get out any air bubbles, but I'm not pressing it down firmly. I'm literally just leaving it like that for now. I'll strip a whole load of the lower leaves now. Because this is rosemary, I'm going to keep that to use in the kitchen. What you're aiming for is cuttings that are 4 to 6 inches long and have got the softer material at the top heading down towards the woody material. So I'm going to cut that one just below a leaf joint and into the soil, and again firming around it. I have separate videos showing you how to do each of these tasks, and I'll leave links to those in the video description. To learn about the other 5 tasks that you can do this autumn, head over to Erica's Little Welsh Garden. I'll leave a link on the screen, and if you click on that, it'll take you directly through to her video.